Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the National Hockey Now Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Out to Hathaway, he runs into Pedersen, a minute to go. Quinn Hughes. Connor Garland off Besser's stick. Olmark is gonna shot it, and he scores! Linus Olmark, the odds-on Vezina Trophy winner, scores an empty net goal to seal this win. You're seeing history. The selling line. Predict that.
Vancouver uses the middle of the offensive blue line for.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by National Hockey Now. Sunday, February 26th, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith with you, ready to break down this Sunday NHL card. And, of course, right off the top there, if you are listening to the podcast, you heard the highlight. If you watched on YouTube, you saw the highlight. Linus Ullmark of the Boston Bruins scoring a goal, a very rare goalie goal in the National Hockey League last night. Very exciting development. It's always fun when you see that. I think it's like the 9th time, if I'm not mistaken, 9th or 10th time in NHL history that a goalie has scored a goal. So just shows you what kind of season the Boston Bruins are having. They can do no wrong. Even the goaltenders are scoring goals and finding the back of the net for them. Alex, just part of a crazy Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, Linus Ullmark, if he needed any help, securing the Vezina, now he has a goal and a point on his. I think he actually has 2 points on the. I think he had an assist earlier this year too. So he's getting it done at all aspects of the ice right now, and with the Boston Bruins getting that win. But yeah, just another crazy Saturday night in the NHL. A lot of great overtime games again. Cash with a couple of draws in the late night hour, which is really excited to see that. But we're seeing a lot of tighter battles, and we're also seeing where some of these teams that we know are going to be at the bottom of the league, they're starting to fade out. You look no further than the New Jersey Devils putting the touchdown up on the Philly Flyers. That was just a complete blowout and a tough loss for me with that first period over. It's always tough. Some of these first period overs I've been losing. You see these final scores 6-3, 7-0. It was a 6-5 game a while back. It's tough to not be able to get any scoring in the first period. But like I said, that's why live betting's so great, because then you can jump in and grab some of these smaller numbers and they cash in the second and third period. So live betting and draws, we've been talking about it ad nauseum, and there's a reason, because those are the ways to cash in the second half of the season in the NHL.
Yeah, there's no question. It's draw season indeed. Dallas, Vegas last night. Yep, going to overtime as well. A lot of close competitive games that we saw last night and yesterday. The Rangers, no show for them. It'll be interesting to see how they play against the LA Kings. I'm worried about the Rangers. We'll get to the Rangers too, because they're playing LA today. I'd be leery of backing them. They're struggling a little bit now. And I think until this stuff with Patrick Kane goes down, and we think he's going to the Rangers later this week, they mentioned it on the broadcast. It was a phenomenal point brought up by Sean McDonough and Ray Ferraro on the ABC broadcast yesterday, saying they look like a team that is like that kid that's all giddy and excited for the Christmas morning to arrive, get that big present, and they can't focus on doing anything until it happens.
Yep.
And I think that's what they looked like yesterday against Washington, that they know Patrick Kane might be days away from arriving and wearing a Rangers jersey, and they just couldn't focus on playing a hockey game properly yesterday. That's the way it looked to me.
Yeah, and on the flip side too, I mean, Washington just looked poised and determined to finally snap this streak as well. And you got TJ Oshie going out there doing everything, getting the Gordie Howe hat trick. Kuznetsov was on fire.
Right too, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was great to see Ovechkin get back on the score sheet too. I'm sure that's even though it wasn't a goal necessarily yet, but just being involved in the play and in the action. I'm sure every little bit kind of helps with him. And the more he can get back and engage with the team, the more that this team could possibly try to crawl back. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I think they've kind of dug themselves too deep of a hole, in my opinion. But that was a good group effort win from the Caps. And like I said, the Rangers, they're waiting for their help. They desperately need it.
Yeah, they desperately do indeed. Briefly, we want to keep the Sunday shows within an hour just because it's Sunday. But we just briefly on the card yesterday that we saw. What else did we see yesterday? Just some, obviously, a wild one with Edmonton, Columbus. Edmonton, this is it now. This is now twice now we've seen them spit the bit with an early start game on the road. So I don't think we'll be back in Edmonton anytime soon with that happens. And, of course, they lose 6-5 to Columbus yesterday. Valiant effort trying to come back, but they fall short. We saw the Ducks with the upset of the night by far. They were as high as plus 400 underdogs against Carolina, and that was the John Gibson show. That's as simple as that. It was John Gibson all night long. 40-plus shots he faced. And an incredible performance, and Anaheim with a 3-2 win over the Carolina Hurricanes. Welcome to silly season. Like I say, after the All-Star break, you're going to see some silly results. Ottawa 5-2 over Montreal. Split with me for that game with Montreal losing, but the over did hit. If you bet the over with Flyers Devils, you thank New Jersey for getting it done for you. 7 goals. They put up a touchdown on the Philadelphia Flyers. So much for the good vibes for Samuel Ersson. Tough night for him and the Flyers. They lose 7-0. Tampa Bay, that's the most fraudulent score you'll ever see last night in that Tampa-Detroit game. Man, I mean, Detroit did everything but score. They dominated the game. They carried the play. They heavily outplayed, heavily outshot the Lightning. But as we've often seen, none of that matters when you have Andrei Vasilevskiy in net, and it was a brick wall kind of night for Vasilevskiy. He's had these nights before. The Dallas game that they won on the road, he was brilliant in that game. He's had a bunch. And look, he was off that miserable game against Buffalo, and that's something we're going to have to remember. It's not so much Tampa Bay off a loss. That's a strong angle. It's also when Vasilevsky's off a loss, and particularly a performance where he gives up a lot of goals, which is a rarity for him. And clearly that didn't sit well with him. The 6 goals that got past him against the Buffalo Sabres. And boy, did he make amends for that last night. Outstanding performance. And he's the reason they won. Because Tampa's going to have to hope Vasilevsky's just this good consistently, because I'm seeing more than ever this season Tampa Bay getting outplayed by the opponent, more than I've seen in last year, 2 years ago. But again, doesn't mean a thing if the other team can't score and your goalie is immense. And that's what we saw last night from Vasilevskiy in that 3-0 shutout over Detroit. Tough loss for the Red Wings. They deserved the 2 points, didn't get it. Dallas with the 3-2 win in a shootout against Vegas. We saw Colorado 4-1 win over Calgary. Again, Jacob Markstrom with the early goal that he allows. I mean, it's just unbelievable how many times it's happened to Jacob Markstrom. The early goal, the first shot that he faces goes in. Happened again last night against Colorado. Just insane. Just put your team behind the 8 ball, and Calgary could never recover. Frustrating beat for me with the best bet on the show with the over. Falls a goal short of at least the push. Just couldn't get anything from Calgary pretty much. But a 4-1 win for Colorado there. And the late game was actually a very entertaining hockey game. Chicago, San Jose, we were thinking, oh my gosh, Kane's not going to play. They've sent him home. The trade's probably going to happen at some point. And what that takes a lot out of that Chicago, San Jose game. Wow, it was an exciting hockey game. The overtime was insane. What an entertaining game. And it ends up being a 4-3 win in a shootout for the Chicago Blackhawks. I got to say this. That was one of Mrazek's best games of the season. He was really good last night. Really, really good, especially in the overtime. He made a couple of really good saves. And shout out to David Gust. How about that for your NHL debut? Your first goal on your first shift in your first game. That's pretty good for him with the Blackhawks last night. So congrats to him, David Gust. What a way to begin your NHL career. Your first game, your first shift. You score your first goal for sure. Alex, any other thoughts from yesterday's action?
Yeah, I mean that was really always cool to see with David Gus, like I said, being a Chicagoland kid, play with the Wolves for a while, but now getting this chance up with a big club and signing a deal, and now getting out there, getting a goal. It's got to be a great feeling for him. Like I said, Mrazek played, a sturdy game in net, and that was the reason I liked the draw. Once I saw it was Mrazek and Kakkonen in net, I figured, okay, well these two guys are kind of rough. This could balance itself out, and it played out to a T. It was a 3-3 game going into overtime, and the Hawks now on a hot run, 5 in a row. They're bucking the trend of these teams that need to tank losing, and they're a hard one to try to figure out when they're going to get back into the loss column again right now, and especially if they're getting good goaltending from Mrazek and Jackson Stauber, kind of making things tough as far as the Bedard sweepstakes go.
Yep, definitely. Great Saturday, and great ceremony for Patrick Marleau. Well deserved.
Yeah.
First San Jose Shark to have his number retired. Very well deserving. Pretty much his entire career, except for one season with Toronto, was played with the San Jose Sharks. Just an incredible run for him. I loved seeing the emotion from Kelly Rudy, who finished his career in San Jose some 20 years ago, and it was a fresh-faced rookie, Patrick Marleau, playing for the San Jose Sharks. And then, of course, Joe Thornton, who was his teammate for a long time. And, great ceremony for Patrick Marleau last night in San Jose. All right, let's go to Sunday's action. We've got 6 games, and we'll begin with the Washington Capitals. 7 games, I should say. We'll begin with the Washington Capitals and Buffalo Sabres. Buffalo minus 120, home favorite, 6.5 the total in this one. No Alex Tuch, no Rasmus Dahlin here for the Buffalo Sabres today. We knew Tuch wasn't going to play. He's out indefinitely now, and that's a shame. He was playing really well, and I love betting his over shots on goal props. So that ends up being a frustrating thing. And, of course, Rasmus Dahlin goes without saying that a weaker blue line they will be today with him not in the lineup. So a couple of lineup adjustments here for Don Granato's group. Skinner with Thompson and Olofsson looks like it's going to be your top line today. J.J. Peterka, Dylan Cousins, Jack Quinn on the second line. We'll have to see how it goes here. I could see in this situation here, Cousins, Quinn, Olofsson being guys that might have to shoot the puck more. Like, I think this is a tricky game from a prop standpoint because of the lineup changes, and you're just not sure, who's going to end up, taking the onus upon them to get the job done. We'll have to wait and see on that. Certainly, by the way, Skinner and Thompson on 5-game point streaks right now for the Buffalo Sabres. Washington, look, struggling mightily, but their second game with Ovechkin back against a Rangers team that I thought to me was a little bit distracted. Washington played well, don't get me wrong, but Rangers totally distracted by the Kane scuttlebutt yesterday and that loss to the Capitals. I think Cousins over shots is what I'm thinking too, Keebs. Good thought there with that in the chat. But in this game here, Washington, we'll see how they fare. Back-to-back for them. So it's not a great spot for them. But at the same time, Buffalo's coming in back home off a road trip and back in a spot where they're not as good. Look, the home record, is only 11-17, where they're 19-10 on the road. So they've been worse here in Buffalo. And, I made the joke on Twitter the other night. Can we just have the Sabres play every other regular season game this year outside of Buffalo? Can we just have that, make an arrangement for that to be possible? Because they haven't played as well here at home. And I think maybe the Caps get a little boost maybe after the win yesterday. Yet at the same time, we just saw them deal away Orlov and Hathaway to Boston. Makes me think, hey, they're rebuilding. They're selling a little bit. So this is a really tough side to bet here in this game. I would stick to the over. It does hurt that Tuch and Dahlin are both out. That does hurt that total a little bit, but it's been a high-scoring series with the Caps and with the Sabres. You wonder if Washington getting their offense on track yesterday, an explosion against the Rangers, is something that can carry over to today. Again, Buffalo's not exactly a shutdown group on the defensive end of the ice, but I think Buffalo can chip in. They're going to start Kemper on a back-to-back. I don't like that usually. I don't like goalies on a back-to-back. I feel they don't play as well. On the second of back-to-backs, fatigue sets in a little bit. So I think the over is the best way to go if you're going to get involved in this game. What do you think here, Alex? Caps, Sabres?
Yeah, I like this over, but I'm going to wait and grab it in game. I want to get 5.5, and I think we can wait and get 5.5 and plus money. So anything in that pick'em range to plus money range, that's what I'll be shooting for. Like I said, I expect with Washington, like I say, getting that offense rolling. I expect Ovechkin to, finally get the on the board from the goal department standpoint, and I think this is going to be just a good back and forth pace. Not sure who wins this one. Like I said, I don't want to touch the side, but I just expect goals galore. So we'll go over, but we're going to wait and grab a 5.5 and get a better price as well.
Yeah, definitely. And as for props, as I said, I'd honestly look at Tom Wilson. Actually, is I think someone that's been very prominent. Obviously, Oshie had the big day yesterday against the New York Rangers. Do you expect that to carry over and continue? I'm not so sure, but Tom Wilson in 3 of the 4 games since he's been back with the Washington Capitals, he's had 3+ shots on goal in 3 of the 4 games. So definitely someone that's been ripping the puck quite a bit. So shots on goal with him here today definitely could be something that you consider and you look at here in this matchup. Let me see what else that might be. Skinner, by the way, he's gone over over 2.5 shots on goal in 5 of the last 10, 3 of the last 5 games. So he's probably someone that's going to have to shoot the puck a lot more now. Him in particular, with the absences and Tuck, of course, not being in there. So I could see Skinner's shots on goal being a decent option here for this game here this afternoon. So there's a couple looks there. Cousins, of course, not only shots on goal, but point prop, goal prop. I always think he's a little bit undervalued compared to some other players on this team. All right, Jackets and Wild. We've got Minnesota minus 310, home favorites, 5.5 the total. Alex can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I've noticed with this Minnesota team, when they've played these Sunday afternoon home games, haven't they been a little higher scoring than I've noticed that? I've started to notice that. We were on that last Sunday with the Nashville, Minnesota, where I'm a little hesitant saying, oh, Nashville can't score right now. Minnesota's not scoring. And look, it took some late goals to get there, but it still got there, and it ended up going over the total. That Preds Wild game, which was a Sunday afternoon matinee home game for the Wild at XL Energy Center. And I noticed they've had a bunch of Sunday afternoon games, and I noticed that a lot of them have been trending over the total. So with a 5.5 now showing up for this game with Jackets and Wild, it opened 6. I'm seeing 5.5 at DraftKings, BetOnline, Bookmaker, and some other books, with Merzlikins and Fleury being the goaltending matchup as well here today. With again, Columbus played yesterday, and it was Korpisalo against Edmonton, and it's Merzlikins here today against Minnesota. And look, Fleury had the shutout against Columbus, so maybe he just owns this team, and maybe he'll play well again. But you got to think second look now for Columbus against Fleury. Second time facing him in a 4-day span, is going to lead to hopefully some better results here for the Jackets in this game. So rather than a side again here, I'd look total, and I'd look especially at 5.5, over 5.5, minus 120, minus 125. What do you think here, Alex? Jackets Wild.
Yeah, normally I would be right along with you, but I got to stay away from this total here. Looking at the history of these two teams recently, mostly trending under, like you said, with this normally being a high scoring, like I said, these Sunday starts, these daytime starts, not just on Sunday, just daytime games of the Wild in general. I do think the Wild will get off to a bit of a hot start, but I think we could see this kind of maybe slow down a little bit pace wise. So I kind of worry. I'm just going with the Wild first period puck line. I got plus $1.10 laying the half a goal there. I just trust that the Wild to get off to a good start and get out of that first period with the lead. But I'm not sure if this could easily be a boat race and we could see a 5-4 game, but I wouldn't be shocked if we also see maybe a 3-2 game that just kind of sneaks under, maybe even look at a little overtime. 2 of the last 3 meetings have been settled in OT. The last meeting, a 2-0 win for the Wild, but that was a close game throughout. So I'm going to look for Wild first period puck line and maybe look for some adjustments in game.
That might be a good look, too, that Minnesota first period puck line, because think about what Columbus went through yesterday. They had the huge lead. They had to hang on for the win against Edmonton. Took a lot out of them. I'm sure they exerted a lot yesterday with that game against the Oilers, and now you got to come back, play another early game. Maybe Minnesota with the rest advantage. Of course, they were in Toronto and lost in overtime Friday night against the Leafs, but still, they've been waiting for Columbus here and pounce on them early. Definitely a possibility. And say what you will about Fleury's struggles. He did play well. He looked awesome against Columbus, that 30-save shutout. We'll still trust him over Merzlikins at this point in time, no question. We know it's been a rough season for Elvis. So I still like this over. Alex likes the first period puck line here with Minnesota in this one. All right, Islanders. And, oh, by the way, prop-wise here in this game, there are a couple for me. Certainly on the Minnesota side, Hartman, Eriksson Ek, it's wash, rinse, repeat essentially with these two guys with shots on goal. It's been just keep going back to the well. It's been cashing in. Ryan Hartman point, I think, cashes in today too, because look, they're playing the Jackets. Toronto, we didn't get a point, but Toronto's tough team, better team, good defensive team, good goaltending. I think Ryan Hartman probably gets back on the score sheet here this afternoon against Columbus. Merzlikins, of course, in net. There's definitely opportunity for Ryan Hartman to get involved again on the score sheet. So once again, I like Hartman over shots on goal. I like Hartman props even more than Eriksson Ek because the value and the price is even better. So again, Hartman over shots on goal is only minus 125. To get a point, it's only minus 126 to minus 130. So those are great bets, in my opinion, here for this game today. All right, next up, we've got, continuing on, Islanders and Jets. We've got the Winnipeg Jets minus 145 home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this one. Now, these two teams met earlier this week, Islanders and Jets, in Long Island at Belmont Park, UBS Arena. The Islanders got the victory in a very good goaltending battle in that hockey game between Hellebuck and Sorokin. The projections are we're going to see that very same matchup here this afternoon against in Winnipeg with Hellebuck versus Sorokin here in this game. This will be an interesting one to see because the Winnipeg Jets suddenly have not played well for, I would say, a good solid almost calendar month, to be quite honest. Before the All-Star break, they had some bumps in the road. And coming out of the All-Star break, this team is only 3-4 in their 7 games since the All-Star break. They've lost 2 in a row. They lost to the Islanders, of course, last week or earlier this week, 2-1. They came home and they got throttled by Colorado, 5-1. Colorado jumped on them. They were up 4-1 after the first period. Before you could blink, before you could get comfortable in your seat there at Canada Life Center in Winnipeg, they're down 4-1. Hellebuck gets pulled. You're giving up 5 goals. David Riddick comes in to finish that game. This is a bet on spot for Winnipeg, period. They lost to this Islanders team. They're off a horrible game, and it was a first game off a road trip too. This is their get-right spot, in my opinion. And the long-term trend of Hellebuck off a loss and Hellebuck after he gets pulled. His numbers actually after he gets pulled in the previous game are even stronger. He is just one of those goalies where when it goes rough for him one game, look out the next time he gets the net. He's often going to end up being a guy that bounces back. And again, with the New York Islanders, yeah, I mean, they had won 2 in a row, but they lost to the LA Kings 3-2 in their road record stinks, 12-18 on the road. We got a 20-9 home team here, Winnipeg, off a really bad home loss to Colorado Friday night. This is a Winnipeg first period puck line, Winnipeg regulation. I know, actually, you know what? I'll go minus 145. I'll go the regular money line because it's cheap enough, but I'm also going to go with Winnipeg first period puck line. Jump on this Islanders team. Islanders aren't the same team on the road. They lost to the Islanders early. So you got revenge angle. You've got a bad loss at home. You've got a goalie that's got a track record of bouncing back. You've got a team that plays well at home versus a team that struggles on the road. It's the perfect recipe. Jets first period puck line and money line for me. What do you think here, Alex?
Yeah, I like that first period puck line look as well, especially because I'm a little dicey with taking Winnipeg. Don't want to lay 145, but also don't want to take them in regulation because this game screams tie. Like, I could definitely see this one being a draw, especially if the Islanders, like I said, they're that kind of team that can give up some goals, but they can fight back and they have the defense enough to clamp down. And this is certainly 2 teams that need points. So, that the theory of not much teams not trying to take too many chances late in the third period. If it's tied or it's a 1-goal game, I think we'll see a more conservative approach. So I could easily see this being a draw. So I might sprinkle a little bit on the draw here in this one, but definitely going to go with that Jets first period puck line at a great price. I'm seeing as high as plus 165.
There you go. So yeah, that's first period money line's too expensive. Go with the puck line. I expect a strong start. Rick Bowness wasn't happy. The leadership group of the Jets wasn't happy. Yeah, I mean, I would lean under too. I mean, you got to think. I expect Hellebuck to be great today. So if I expect that, I'm not betting over, even at 5.5. And look, last time they played these 2 teams, and probably this same goalie matchup today as well, Ilya Sorokin and Connor Hellebuck, it was 2-1. And it was a very tight, low-scoring game. So, yeah, I wouldn't be interested in the over here. But, yeah, I like the Jets here in this spot to bounce back here against the Islanders. And as far as the props go, mostly shots on goal props because I do think it could be a little bit, not maybe as many goals, but I do think there's some good shots on goal props here. I mean, you could probably still put Brock Nelson to get a point in a same-game parlay because he just gets a point every single game. I mean, it's unbelievable, the run he's put together. But, as far as shots on goal go, Boone Jenner, by the way, someone mentioned Boone Jenner shots on goal for Columbus in the last game. Yeah, I agree with that. Boone Jenner shots, Eriksson Ek and Hartman for Minnesota. But this game, I think Scheifele, he's been trending over his shots on goal. And, of course, Josh Morrissey. Goes without saying, Josh Morrissey. I think Pierre-Luc Dubois, he had a really bad game. He's had a bad couple of games for Winnipeg. So Pierre-Luc Dubois over his shots on goal might be a good look as well. Those are the three I would bet for shots on goal for Winnipeg. PLD, Scheifele, and Morrissey in terms of over shots on goal here in the Islanders and Jets game. All right, we've got the LA Kings and the New York Rangers. Rangers minus 140, home favorites here, 6 being the total in this game. I ain't laying a price with the Rangers right now. So this is Kings or pass for me in this game. This is Kings or pass for me. They look like they are not going to, I think, settle down and ramp up to playing focused, strong hockey until this Kane stuff gets done, until this deal gets done. We assume it's going to get done unless something completely falls through. But, yeah, I think they just need to get through this period here up until the deadline, on a back-to-back situation here. I'm not laying $140 with them, not after what I've seen the last couple games. That Detroit game was a total lack of focus. Yesterday's game was a total lack of focus. So, no, we're not laying a price with the Rangers. I could only look at the Kings. However, I'm just seeing now that Jonathan Quick is going to be a net for the Kings. So that's probably going to take us off any interest of taking them either. So probably not a game I'm going to be betting from a side perspective at all. More of a prop game for me. Maybe the over gets there just because of the fact you're going to have Quick, probably Halak for Winnipeg or for the Rangers here on a back-to-back. It hasn't been confirmed that it's Jarro Halak, but it's probably going to be him on a back-to-back here against the LA Kings. And as far as the prop market goes in this one, there are a bunch of them. For LA in particular, I've been taking Kempe shots on goal 8 of the last 10 games. Kempe points, Kopitar points. Kopitar has been on a goal-scoring spree as well lately. It got snapped against the Islanders, but might be worth it to come back. Oh, Victor Arvidsson, too, starting to trend over shots on goal lately as well for the LA Kings the last few games. So definitely some good options here when you look at it as far as, some shots on goal numbers here for this particular day. But no question about that. I think when you look at a game like this, definitely some good props because I do think both teams are capable of finding the back of the net. Outside of a couple of games there, the Rangers still have been a heavily trending over team going all the way back to when they got Tarasenko. Could you imagine, what their games could be like if they get Patrick Kane and add him to the mix? They're already starting to become more of a over team, which is a departure from what they've largely been the last year and a bit under Gerard Gallant, where they've been more of a, okay, we get our timely goals here and there, but we're more of a tighter, defensive-minded, great goaltending from Shesterkin kind of team. Well, the defense hasn't always been as good this year. Shesterkin not quite on the level of last year, and I think their offense is, you can put it up against anybody right now, and that's turned them into a bit more of an over team here the last couple of weeks. So definitely at 6, I lean over the total. I'm probably not going to take LA now that it's Jonathan Quick. Although I give him credit, Alex. We've criticized Quick, and he's had a tough season. But he beat the Islanders the other night. Let's give him some credit, and he was pretty good in that game. He had to make a couple of really good saves there with that game hanging in the balance. So, but we need to see more. One good game out of Quick after a season of struggles is not enough. Let's see how he plays here. Against, and with all due respect to the Islanders, you got a little bit more firepower to contend with here against the New York Rangers. What do you think here in this one, Alex? LA, New York.
Yeah, I like the draw here, plus 325. And like I said, even with Quick and net, I think this could be one of those higher scoring draws, not necessarily a slow track meet throughout. And like I said, the Rangers, they need desperately points. They need to right the ship after this 4-game losing streak. And the way that they looked flat yesterday, I think they'll be able to, bounce back and have a good effort here. So this should be a fun game to watch. I think I like the over here. I think we could probably wait and actually grab a 5.5 and get that over. So look for the over, grab the draw now, and play the over in game. That's the way I'm going to attack this one.
All right, the draw. You know, I definitely think this could be a tight game because you actually look at LA here. The New Jersey game was an overtime game. The Arizona game was a shootout. So they've gone beyond regulation 2 of the last 4 games.
They either could have gone in the OT and 4 straight, the way that,
Yep.
those other 2 games ended. So
last year when these two teams met that one time at Madison Square Garden, it was a 3-2 shootout win for the New York Rangers. So yeah, there's some reasons to like the draw here in this game with the Kings and the Rangers. I might even put a couple bucks on that because I think that's actually better than taking either New York -140 or LA +120. Probably will be a close game. I don't see either team running away from the other here. All right, great stuff. That's the first 4 games of this 7-game card. We've got the last 3 games, which are the night games here on this Sunday NHL card. Hit the like button. 270 live viewers on YouTube. We appreciate it very much.
yes, hit the like button, please.
Yes, definitely. Hit that like button. We appreciate it very much. It helps us, and it helps the Ice Guys channel. We want it to grow. No question about that. All right, we'll be right back for the rest of the card right after we hear from our good friends at Gramco.
All right, whether you or your team's game is on the field, screen, racetrack, or the ice, Gramco is for the game. Grown by farmers who spent years developing premium hemp genetics, Gramco provides customers with consistent quality Delta 8 products ready for any occasion. Gramco currently offers numerous Delta 8 products such as vape cartridges, disposable vapes, pre-rolls, gummies, wake and bake coffee, and more. Gramco offers an enjoyable legal high delivered discreetly and directly to you, and is also available at many American retailers as well. Get the best Delta 8 cannabis products on the market shipped quickly and discreetly from Gramco. If you visit www.thegramco.com, use promo code ICEGUYS, you get 25% off of any order, and all orders on the site that are $50 and higher are shipped free with standard shipping. So live elevated with Gramco and check out their wonderful Delta 8 products today.
All right, we are back here on the Ice Guys show. Jake Paul fight, Alex. Go ahead.
Jake Paul is fighting Tommy Fury, and I do want to address this because I was supposed to talk about this on radio earlier in the week, and I actually do have money on this fight. I have Tommy Fury to win this, and I also have Tommy Fury by knockout. And here's the reason why, and this is a betting theory related thing. When you look at Jake Paul's fights, they've literally come against a YouTuber, a couple of over-the-hill UFC guys who basically made the biggest payday of their lives, and just a bunch of unknown guys. Where you look at Tommy Fury, he's had handpicked
tomato cans, essentially.
Right, they're tomato cans, but they actually are legitimate fighters. They train. They've logged in more rounds in sparring than Paul ever has. So Fury, yes, he's a bad boxer, but a bad boxer is still better than just a guy who's still learning how to fight. Jake Paul's good for the level that he was at. He's basically a novice 2 years ago, 3 years ago. He's much better, but no, this doesn't work. This whole charade doesn't work if Paul wins. Fury's going to win the first one, and they're going to rematch immediately, and that's when Paul gets the knockout, probably sometime in around Thanksgiving or something. So I just want to mention that if you're thinking Jake Paul's easy money today, you got to read into the narrative a little bit deeper. He's not.
There you go. Great breakdown. Great breakdown for a fight I didn't even know was happening today. So there you go. That's why I just said Jake Paul. Talk about it, Alex. Yeah. I can't help you there. I can't help anybody with that. But there you go. So that is good advice. I do know that he's been fighting though. It's almost like it's set up for him to win. That much I know.
And that's the thing. There's a difference between fixed fights and hand-picked opponents.
Right.
Jake Paul's fights have been borderline fixed. Tommy Fury just had hand-picked opponents against guys who probably couldn't even get a boxing license here in the U.S. So anyway, exactly. Back to the hockey.
Back to the hockey, exactly right. But I now I know that that's happening today. All right, next up, we've got 3 games, by the way, that are left here on this Sunday card. They're all at night. So this one's at 6 p.m. Eastern. And then the last 2 games are at 7 p.m. Eastern here on Sunday night. We'll start with Tampa Bay and Pittsburgh. We've got the Penguins -115 home favorite, 6.5 the total in this one. That would have been a robbery for the Penguins if they didn't win that game yesterday. They were all over St. Louis. Binnington actually had a terrific performance in net, kept the Blues afloat. But eventually the Penguins got the overtime win they deserved, 3-2. But again, St. Louis is a mess. Berube's ripping the team publicly. They're trading away assets left and right. I'm not saying Pittsburgh's back on track. Let's see how they do here against obviously Tampa Bay. How good they've been. Tampa Bay. I don't know. Look, if you listened to John Cooper after the game against Detroit, you would have thought they lost. He wasn't very happy. Wasn't very happy with his team's performance. Like, they got outplayed. That was a Vasilevsky bailout special for the Tampa Bay Lightning last night. I mean, if you're Detroit, you got to take great confidence out of that loss. You're going to look at it, say 3-0 up. Detroit failed in their step-up game. No, they did not fail. They played a hell of a hockey game. They had all kinds of chances, and unfortunately, the puck did not go in for the Detroit Red Wings last night. So they made a great account of themselves, and they gave Tampa Bay fits. That's the one thing Detroit always does, is give Tampa Bay a tough game, and they did that once again last night. This is a tough side. I mean, I'd lean Tampa. I really would. I mean, if I had to, I'd bet Tampa Bay. I don't trust Pittsburgh yet. They got to show me they can beat someone good. Remember the last time they played someone really good? Edmonton, just a few nights ago in this building, they got trashed. They got absolutely hammered. So let's see what they do here against Tampa Bay. Keep in mind, probably going to see Brian Elliott here tonight for the Tampa Bay Lightning, with Vasi getting the start last night. And it was Jari for Pittsburgh yesterday, and they thought maybe it would be the roles would be reversed, that DeSmith would start yesterday, Jari today. But with Jari starting yesterday, probably a chance we see DeSmith here tonight for the Pittsburgh Penguins in this game. But either way, the bet I like in this game is the over. We've talked about, this is my favorite over of this entire card. I think we're definitely going to see goals here. I don't trust if it's DeSmith. Tampa Bay will score, I think, a few games. And look, they weren't happy with their game. They thought they didn't generate enough offense last night. They got 3 goals, but not a ton of great chances, not a ton of looks, not a ton of shots. So I think Tampa will find the back of the net here. Pittsburgh obviously should be able to chip in with some offense here against Brian Elliott, who, again, has a pretty good win-loss record. But the stats, like the raw numbers, his actual goalie stats don't match the win-loss record. He's only got a 2.9 goals against, 904 save percentage, which, again, isn't great by any stretch of the imagination. So I think over 6.5 in this one rather than a side. What do you think here, Alex? Lightning, Penguins.
Yeah, I like this over too, but this is one I definitely want to get in game. If you look at the history of the last 5 meetings, 2 and 3 to that first period over. So we're seeing a lot of scoreless and 1 goal first periods between these two. That gives us enough time to certainly get 5.5 and maybe even at a plus price. But anything 5.5 at minus $1.20 or better, that's why I'll jump in with the over. Sidewise, it's so hard to see the Lightning in a pick 'em range and not take them immediately. Like that's just, I don't know if you feel like that, Ian, but I know I do. Anytime I see them within $1.15 or better, I just want to instantly jump and bet them. But Pittsburgh, even though that was still a tough way to get a win, but they finally were able to snap the streak. I don't know. It feels like Pittsburgh could come out of here hot and ready at the beginning and jump out to a 3-goal lead and coast to a win. It also feels like they could, play a little bit slow, and Tampa Bay kind of wears them down and then takes the lead late. So like I said, I'm going to wait for the 5.5 in game, probably going to wait and play a side in game as well. I want to just get to see the feel and pace in the first 5 minutes before making a bet and choosing a side here.
Yeah, see how both teams come out. I think Tampa Bay is going to play a good game today, because I can't. I know if the coach wasn't thrilled, I got to imagine that the players weren't thrilled with that against Detroit. Like, let's be honest, let's be totally real. Vasilevsky, got the game for us. That's exactly what happened last night for Tampa Bay against Detroit. So I think they know they can play better, and they should, and they have to play better than that going forward. All right, and we got to see Pittsburgh beat a good team. Beating St. Louis does nothing for me. All right, and by the way, this is another game where, in terms of props here, there are a couple that Crosby assist didn't come through yesterday, but we've been going to the well with that. Tampa Bay, Victor Hedman over shots on goal continues to be a good look. I think that he's been trending heavily over the shots on goal, and you get better numbers with him compared to Kucherov and Stamkos and Point. Definitely, Point's been on a tear right now, but again, with Braden Point score a goal, you can bet that single. But if you're going to bet his point prop, you got to put it in a same game parlay because of the price of it. All right, Nashville and Arizona. We've got Nashville. Actually, there's a couple more props actually I wanted to mention too in that, because I think there's going to be a lot of high event type of hockey with these two teams. So I think there's going to be definitely ample opportunity for both teams. But like I said, Hedman, I think Crosby over shots on goal. Rakell's been shooting the puck a lot. Like I said, you could pick and choose between Kucherov and Stamkos to go over shots on goal. Gensel, kind of trending that way lately too with his overshots on goal as well, because I do think, they'll pepper Elliott a little bit. So there's definitely some options there as far as the prop market goes. All right, Nashville, Arizona. We've got Nashville minus 170, road favorite, 6 the total in this game. I think one of the big pieces of news yesterday was the trade of Nino Niederreiter from Nashville to Winnipeg. Why was that big? It's not so much, Niederreiter's had a tough season in Nashville. And Winnipeg, I think, has taken a flyer on someone that, changes scenery, a team that's definitely going to be a playoff team, gets them going. It just wasn't a good fit for him in Nashville. But the big news of that trade, Alex, is Nashville's opened the door to selling, and we weren't sure about that right away, but that was a clear signal from David Poile, the general manager of the Nashville Predators, that he's ready to unload. He's ready to say, wave the white flag. It ain't going to happen for us this year. We're probably not making the playoffs. And we're ready to sell off some pieces. Dante Fabro, Matthias Ekholm is in play. I'm hearing even Ryan Johansson is not safe, to be with Nashville beyond Friday. So there's a lot of irons in the fire. I think the untouchables are Saros, Forsberg, and maybe Yossi. Yeah, Yossi probably won't go anywhere. But other than that, I think everything could be on the table here for this Nashville team. So that's why that trade was significant yesterday. Nino Niederreiter to Winnipeg, because it's a signal that, hey, we're, punting on this season. We're punting on being a contender with this group. We're trying to be a playoff team. We are going to try to, but now look, he's not going to pull the trigger on a trade unless he gets a great return. But they've opened the door clearly to let some of their players be on the table for any team that's looking to improve their team here at the trade deadline. So that means I'm not laying $1.70 with Nashville. This is clearly a team that is now in sell mode. There's no way I'm laying a price. Now, I know they beat San Jose. It was a very impressive win in their last game, but I actually like Arizona. I'm going to go back to the well here, Alex. It's been a while. It's been a while since we've had an Ian Cameron at the Mullet Arena sighting here with the first period full game money line split here with Arizona. But that's where we're going in this game. Arizona first period money line, Arizona full game money line split for me here against the Coyotes. First period money line around plus 115, plus 120, and full game money line upwards of plus 150. And another dynamic I like about this hockey game here tonight with these two teams is that we are going to see Connor Ingram in net for Arizona. A, he's played better lately, and B, guess where he was before he came to Arizona? Oh yeah, Nashville Predators. Wouldn't you want to beat your old team? Doesn't that usually get you fired up when you see when you play your old team? I think it does get Connor Ingram fired up here tonight. He plays well. Remember, he was outstanding against Tampa Bay. Remember that game they beat the Lightning in a shootout here in Arizona just recently? That was the Connor Ingram show that night. We know he can play well. This could be a night where not only he does play well, but he's got the incentive to play well against his former team. So give me Arizona here. First period, full game, money line split at a nice plus price. Alex, Predators, Coyotes.
Yeah, it's an interesting look, and I might tell you on at least that first period look with Arizona. I don't know about with a full game, and I get the Ingram has been playing much better. It's a great angle for him to go against his old team that just kind of just up and dumped him out for pretty much nothing. And like I said, Nashville definitely should not be laying 170 right now. This is a team that certainly looking like sellers and going to be fading out in some time. But Arizona, like I said, they're one of those feisty teams in the bottom of the league that, especially at home, they put up a valiant effort and could easily come out of here with a win. But I'm just going to play it safe, take them first period, and at least come out of that opening frame with the lead.
First period money line here for Alex with Arizona. Even though I like Arizona, and this is kind of a way to hedge my Arizona position, if you will, we know Arizona gives up a shit ton of shots. I mean, it's every single game this team has given up tons of shots. I mean, you could look at so many different shot props here for the Nashville Predators, starting with, yes, Roman Josi, because he's the guy that's really been trending over with his shots on goal prop. And Arizona is habitually a team that gives up a ton of shots on goal to defensemen on the opposing team. So, yeah, Roman Josi is an absolute terrific shots on goal look tonight, I think, for Nashville here in this game. No question about that. Let's see what else we've got here in terms of the shots on goal numbers. Who else has been kind of trending here on the Nashville side of things? I'm just taking a look. But, yeah, Josi is number one on that list. See, it's kind of shots shooting by committee here on this team. Lawson Krause, by the way, Barrett Hayton are showing up on my hot zone, if you will, in terms of who's been shooting the puck a little bit more lately for their respective teams. So you could go in those two directions, no question about that. Good looks, in my opinion, there. So, but Roman Josi is number one, no question about that. That is a very, very strong look because, again, Arizona traditionally gives up a lot of shots to the opposing defenseman as well. And we certainly saw that, too, against the Calgary Flames on Friday night. So good game for some shots on goal props involving Nashville, but also, like I said, I'm on Arizona here, first period. Full game money line split. We don't have goalie confirmation for Nashville. It's just a projection that it's UC Saros, but that has not been confirmed as of yet.
And I wouldn't be shocked to see UC Saros maybe get the bulk of starts because I've been hearing a lot of rumblings about Kevin Lincoln and possibly being on the move between now and March 3rd. So that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely. So a little showcase. Lankinen on the move here. So it makes you wonder how many starts is he going to get now moving forward. All right, final game here of this Sunday NHL slate. Toronto Maple Leafs beginning a Western road trip here tonight, taking on the Seattle Kraken in the Emerald City. Toronto minus 150, road favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. Seattle, what a crazy game they were in against the Boston Bruins. Valiant effort. They were up 5-4. They look like they're going to win the game. Not only do they lose the game, they lose in regulation. Boston, bang, bang, and they end up taking that one 6-5. I think Toronto is going to win this game. I'm just questioning, do I want to take them minus 150 or do I want to be safer with regulation? But I think Toronto's winning this game. If you actually remember back to late December, early January, Seattle went to Toronto, and it was actually one of the worst losses Toronto's had this year, 5-1 at home against Seattle. It was a horrible game. They played terrible. So there's that little angle in the back of the Leafs' mind that, hey, they beat us good last time in Toronto. Time for some payback here in this game. And look, I just, in general, like the way the Leafs are playing since they got O'Reilly. Other than the Chicago game, which was in a brutal spot, everybody was exhausted mentally, physically. The whirlwind of getting O'Reilly on the Friday night, playing Montreal on Saturday, then in Chicago on Sunday. That's the only game they've lost. They've played great other than that. The Buffalo game, they dominated the Sabres. They a tight checking game, but they found a way against Minnesota on Friday night. I like the Leaf game and where it's at right now. The last few, they've played well. And I still think Seattle's kind of been too up and down for my liking. They got shut out by San Jose. That's a bad loss for them. And then the Boston game, they can't hold. They played hard, but they didn't play well. They didn't play smart, and they obviously didn't play great defensively. And Grubauer was so-so in net. It was a weird game, but to me, I think Toronto, having lost at home in a bad way to Seattle earlier this year, they come out and they want to start the road trip on a good note, and they don't take a team that beat them already this year lightly. So Toronto for sure. I'm just thinking of which way I'm going to go, either minus 150 or regulation line, but I'll be on one of the two here in this game. Alex, what do you think here? Leafs, Kraken.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
This is a game that I'm probably going to just be staying away from altogether. Like I said, I get where you're trying to find a way to attack with Toronto. And this Seattle team's one you just can't back right now. Like I said, the form that they've been in lately, it seems like all the money I made on Seattle early in the year, I've given it all back in the last few weeks every time I've tried to deal with them either side or totals wise. So this is going to be a pass for me. Like I said, I've already got some decent action in the early part of the card. I don't want to overload it just because it's a shorter slate. So this is a pass.
All right, it is a pass. I'm going back to the well with the same damn shots props lately for the Leafs. Nylander over shots on goal. O'Reilly over shots on goal. I mean, these are just repeatedly starting to come through for us here for the Toronto Maple Leafs. On the Seattle side, I've talked about how for them, if you're going to bet some points props, Tolvanen, McCann, Eberle have been guys that have been getting on the score sheet for them of late. Beniers is starting to get going a little bit. So I'd maybe look more toward maybe some point props involving those players in this game. I think those could be worth a look. But mostly my top two props are the shots on goal props involving both O'Reilly and Nylander for the Toronto Maple Leafs here in this game. O'Reilly, too, to get a point because I think he's been around the net every game. Whether the puck's gone in or not, he's been right. I think minus 116 to minus 120 for Ryan O'Reilly to get a point is very reasonable with how impactful he has looked here in the first few games as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs. All right, that is the Sunday card. We appreciate everybody joining us here on this Sunday edition of the Ice Guys. Hit the like button on the way out. Reminder, patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 a month. Our daily Ice Guys show betting card, goalie charts, totals charts, power ratings. We've got all video content. We've got our broadcaster rankings posted earlier this week. We've got a lot more coming. We've got an interview with former pro hockey player Nikita Kashersky. We're recording it this week. That'll be coming. We've got an article coming from Alex B. Smith, as well, talking about NHL from a betting perspective. All that and more. Patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 a month.
Yeah, also check out iceguys.myspreadshop.com. 2 days left. You got 15% off everything in the store. We've already cut down prices, took a couple dollars off of the caps and the T-shirts as well. So definitely check that out. Get some merch right now. iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
There you go. Get on that for sure. All right. It is time for Best Bets in just a second here on this Sunday edition of the show, right after we hear from Manscaped. Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Manscaped, our good friends at Manscaped, who are the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, courtesy of the Ice Guys. Get 20% off of any purchase and free worldwide shipping with the promo code Ice Guys. That's promo code Ice Guys, all one word, ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 400 million balls that you can help preserve with manscaped.com using the promo code Ice Guys. You get the Performance Package 4.0. It is a game changer. The Lawnmower 4.0. It takes care of this, among other things. It'll keep you trim as can be. The Lawnmower 4.0, waterproof. Same thing with the Weed Whacker, which takes care of your ear hair, nose hair. I mean, nose hair in particular. You know, I'm getting up there in age, and nose hair is becoming definitely more of an issue. This will take care of it. It feels like someone's tickling the inside of your nostrils sometimes. It pisses the hell out of me. It bothers me. I need to take care of that shit. This will take care of it for you. The Weed Whacker makes part of the package that you get with your Manscaped purchase and the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. You also get the ball toner. You also get the ball deodorant, keep you smelling good and looking good and feeling good down in the nether regions. This package is really going to make you feel good and look good and look better, slim, trim. That's what it's all about. And manscaped.com can help you out with that. So make sure you take advantage of this. Manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code IceGuys at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the promo code IceGuys. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right, we are back here on the Ice Guys for a Sunday edition, and we are ready to wrap it up with best bets. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Yeah, it's a battle of Hollywood versus Broadway. We'll go with the Kings and Rangers draw in regulation, plus 325. This is definitely one of those games where it feels like both teams desperately needing points in different scenarios. Rangers, on this losing skid, trying to get things right, trying to hopefully get into a winning form before Sir Patrick Kane arrives to Madison Square Garden. And for the Kings, it's been an up and down team. It played a lot of tight, close games, a lot of games. 4 of their games, each of the last 4 games could have easily gone to overtime. 2 of them did. I think this one goes to OT this afternoon, or this evening, I should say. Let's go with LA, New York, regulation draw, plus 325. Shop around because I'm seeing some prices as high as plus 345, maybe even 350. So grab the best of that number. But let's look for the draw between the Kings and Rangers is my best bet for Sunday.
All right, there it is. Kings Rangers draw, best bet for Alex P. Smith. I'll give you 2 best bets today. I feel like I can't choose between these 2, so I'm going to make them both best bets. A rare 2 spot. First best bet, Winnipeg first period puck line, -0.5, plus 170 is what I was able to get with that. An excellent price. I think they come out strong. against the Islanders, team that beat them earlier this week. Hellebuck, after getting pulled and after a loss combination, he's been excellent in these spots. And I think Winnipeg responds with a much better game and has the lead after the first period. So Winnipeg -0.5, +170, first period puck line against the New York Islanders. The other best bet will be Tampa Bay Pittsburgh over 6.5, -120. I think we'll see goals both ways in that one. Lightning Penguins over 6.5. So there you go. Two best bets for me on this Sunday edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. And a reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will talk to you again tomorrow on Monday for a brand new week of shows and another edition of the Ice Guys presented by National Hockey Now.